How do you assess your relationships? We're going to talk about that today. I want you to start thinking about the different types of relationships that you're in. And this isn't just about romantic relationships, family, friends, co workers, people within your community. What are your thoughts,
Hmm.
Mayette?
Yes, 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 honey. How you look at that thing? That's what I want to know. How do
Okay.
you look at it? How do you see it? Do you see it from an eye of criticism? Do you see it from an eye of compassion? Do you evaluate your relationship from an eye of disdain? How do you look at that thing? Is what I want to know. How do you look at it? I don't know. I used to look at mine from all of those perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it depended on where I was in my growth.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. And so as you continue to look at how you looking at it, you'll be able to tell if you're repeating something or not. Evaluating your relationship starts with you. I think that's like deeply within you, not just, you know what, you crossed my boundaries, but you put that boundary up to prevent you from seeing your trauma that you didn't heal from the last relationship.
Come on now. Come on
You know
now.
what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
why,
Come on.
that's
Oh,
why.
now I'm walking out of this. I'm walking out of this because you know what? I need self-love. I need love. I need, you don't provide the kind of love, but you don't love yourself either. How are
That
you
part.
looking at it? You look at it from an honest eye? I don't know, sis. You tell me.
It can be hard to be honest with your role in a relationship if you're not willing to address your relationship with yourself. So to your point, that first level of evaluation, if I had to put it in levels, it would be with the self first. But sometimes it is when you are interacting in different types of relationships, and based on that dynamic, it triggers something, or it creates, or I like to use creates the opportunity for
Yes.
you to return to yourself. It creates the opportunity for you to go deeper and get some clarity on what this really is. Or
Mhm.
if you keep noticing relationships in your patterns, then what does that mean for you? If you keep seeing a certain pattern, right, you want to
Right.
evaluate that. And sometimes you be the problem. It be you. You know what I mean?
Yes, Lord.
you know?
Yes, Lord.
And so it's like if you keep noticing a pattern, there is a role that you play in it. So the more that we start to recognize that within ourselves, and do our own assessment of our relationship with ourselves, that will set the foundation for how we can evaluate relationships with other people. Who you were at 7 years old is very different from who you are at 17, is very different from who you are at 27 and 37, 47, so on. And so
Yes.
being able to acknowledge those changes in and you just growing into yourself, and how I think, and let me know if you've experienced this,
Okay.
you grow out of friendships, like they change, right? Like
Hmm.
especially I feel like the biggest shift for me was going from like from middle school to high school,
Mm.
um
Hmm.
going from that stage was, I think, the first time where I really started to notice that my relationships with my friends are changing,
Mm.
and I don't know what to do about it. It's not necessarily like something happened or we had a falling out, but
Hmm.
it's just like, just I'm different. And at that time I didn't know how to really articulate that, or didn't really
Hmm.
know what it fully meant. But that's when
Hmm.
the first time I really felt it. So I'm curious for
Hmm.
you, is what is a time that you can recall where you started to notice that change in your relationships?
Hmm. I did notice it slightly in my junior high to high school transition.
Hmm.
And then I noticed it even more from my high school to adult life transition, even though I had already been living an adult life since ninth grade, you
Hmm.
know. But I started to notice the difference in my relationships, and I noticed how it was easy for me to just fade,
Mm-hmm.
without any like resistance or anything like that. I would just fade. Not ghosting, but just fade. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
be, just it just go a whole different direction. You know what I'm saying? And it was all right. It was all right. Um, I started evaluating them like m- intentionally as I went from that young adult into that full-fledged adult. You know what I'm saying? Into
Mm-hmm.
that more and I don't even know what age it was. It just seems like it started to gradually happen. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Just start
Yeah.
gradually happening. And you just be like, wait a minute, you wake up one day and you're like, okay, wait, was I asleep this whole time? But if you take time to contemplate, you can actually go back. And because as you were talking about it, I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, ooh, wow, good. You done grew up a whole lot. Okay. Evaluating what your relationship is starts with you, right? Like we said, so it starts with us. We can see the processes in which we take, and then we can choose differently. With when you're evaluating a relationship romantically, or you're evaluating it with a platonic relationship, either way, if you look at that relationship and the dynamic of it and everything that transpires inside of it, if you examine it with the whole heart and non-judgment, you will see you in it, and you will see you with compassionate eyes.
Yes.
You will see you with compassionate eyes, and those eyes will be so compassionate that you can see those things in those lanes where you kind of fell off track, but you see that right now, looking, you're getting yourself back on it. You're compassionate. You're saying that's all right. That's evaluating your relationships is not a bad thing. It's
And
a
it's not
good
about
thing.
judgment either.
It's
Like,
not.
yeah, I feel like sometimes it's like, well, um, you can easily get caught up in, like, the if you are thinking about the different scenarios and kind of going over
Mhm.
different situations and how you
Mhm.
could have said this or what could have happened this way or whatever. It's like there's a difference between judgment and judging yourself and then evaluating it from that perspective where you're just observing. You are
Mhm.
looking at it from, not from a place of, from an emotional place,
Right.
um, but being mindful of the emotions that come up when you do evaluate those things,
Right.
and having that compassion that you talked about, to your point, being compassionate with yourself, that like it's okay to feel the anger, the sadness, the the betrayal, whatever the thing is, or like
Mhm.
maybe you're the one doing the betrayal, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
acknowledging like what do those behaviors and those experiences truly represent, and
Right.
um, and then from that, right, you have to go into what's next. What do you do once you gather the information? It's like, okay, well, now what? What do you take from that information? Is it,
Baby. Mm.
you got to make a decision about what you're going to do with it. Are you going to choose to stay in the dynamic that it currently is in?
Mhm.
Are you going to communicate with the other
Yeah.
person or
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
involved?
Absolutely.
Are you just going to take action? Sometimes you just need to set boundaries. I know that's, I've had that experience a few times where I'm just like, ooh, I'm enabling certain things in this
Yeah.
situation, and
Mhm.
I am part of the problem. I'm not all the problem,
Mhm.
but I see where my problems are, and this is what I'm willing to do
That's
to,
evaluation.
change it. Exactly. If I feel that the relationship is worth and continuing to invest in.
Right, right. See, for me, it is when you're at this point and you're making a choice, this is a time where we tend to flail. This is a time where we tend to just fall back into what's comfortable, even if it's uncomfortable. It's we're just so used to being there. This is the time when you have to choose. That's the most challenging, I think, for most people, because it's a choice that you have to ultimately be responsible for. It's a
You know, people
choice
don't want to be
that
responsible,
oh
child.
baby, it's a
Ooh.
choice that you ultimately have to be responsible for. It's a choice that you have to take accountability to such a degree that whatever your choice is in that particular relationship, whatever type of relationship it is, you will have to experience the things that happen afterwards
Yeah.
because of it. So a lot of times people don't choose, they flail and stay, or they flail and ghost because they don't know how to choose the higher path with dignity, or to choose it in a sense of self love. I'm
Mhm.
choosing this path because it is the higher for me. It
Yeah.
is the better for me, and it's the better for everybody else that's involved in the situation, even if they can't see it yet.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
know that your examination causes for a separation and it does not bring ill will, hurt, harm, or danger emotionally, physically, psychologically to the other parties or party, then you know that's the highest road. Don't
You know, people be
take it.
scared though. You know, and that's the
Yeah,
thing too. It's like you can know what is best for you in your spirit, in your soul. You can know
dude,
I need to step away from this
won't even move.
and will not, but you won't even blink.
Be like, I know, but I'm gonna stay anyway. That is
Right.
willful. That is willful ignorance.
Okay. Public service announcement. Stop staying in what's familiar. Stop staying in
Ooh.
relationships that are just for the sake of familiarity. Please
Mhm.
stop.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Quit.
Okay.
Quit.
Yes, quit now because all you're doing is stifling your
Mm.
own growth
Speak.
and that of the other person. You
Speak.
hold the other person back too.
Speak. Come on now.
You know, it's like let it go and show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be scary. Yes, it will be uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And
Listen.
it's so funny because it's, we try to justify staying in our comfort zones because it's familiar, even when we
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
logically and
Mhm.
spiritually it's not good, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But because if it can feel like you don't have any other way to go, or you don't know what's on the other side of it, you don't know how else to be, that
Yeah.
whole unknown thing that we love talking about here on
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
podcast. It's
Okay.
like then it's like it's just easier to stay
Yeah.
versus seeing what's uh, taking that step and taking what you've learned. Like you already have the answer, you've done the evaluation,
Mhm.
now make a move, bitch.
Come on now, that's with work. That's with work. That's with education. That's with relationships. Whether it's mother, brother, sister, father, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, ship. It don't matter. Ship. It is
Exactly.
time for you to see where you need to grow, evaluating your relationships. You didn't think it was going to be nothing like this that you just heard, huh? I know that a lot of times you feel, a topic is going to be one thing and bam, you get hit in the head, it's something else. Well, there you have it. Evaluating your relationships, honey, starts with you. You want to really look deeply into who it is you are. Allow yourself to pause for a brief second, honey, probably more than a brief second, so that you can actually see you, and you can see you in it, and why it was whatever it was happened, and where your part was in it. Okay. So listen, this is not a series, but I'm going to give you a little homework anyway. How about we do this? How about you look at every type of relationship you're in right in this moment, and just take a quick look at it, just evaluate it, and ask yourself some key questions. I'm not going to tell you what those questions are. You're going to tell yourself what they are. And each key question may be different for each specific situation, because some questions aren't key for one relationship as it is in the other. So take a good look at that. Do what you got to do. Follow some steps that we gave, just a little bit of tips. It's what we do on a regular basis within our own lives. Trust me, in this very moment, honey, I am plowing through some of my relationships. I am evaluating them. I am looking at them straight in the eye, and I'm looking at me too.
I love it. Well, it has been a pleasure and let us know what you thought about this episode and what your questions are, what's come up for you. What is one relationship that you are going to evaluate, and what are you going to do about it? Let us know.
Mhm.
Let us
Yes,
know.
yes.
You can
Okay.
connect with us on YouTube. You can connect with us on Instagram, and yeah, at Spirit Wisdom Reset. You can also join our VIP list,
Yes, yes.
and you can get some weekly insights and some extra additional resources and goodies that we send out on occasion. So we'll see you on the next episode.
All right now. Peace.
Bye.